Basic concept in AI, we introduce to the three domains of AI: statistical data and natural languages. The expert C-DAC Hyderabad, Anish Deshpande. Anish Deshpande, he holds an engineering degree with specialization in information technology. He is currently associated with Center for Development of Advanced Computing, C-DAC Hyderabad. He has been involved in design and development of various ICT applications for social development that are being implemented at the national level, such as the Vikaspedia, a nationwide multilingual collaborative knowledge sharing platform. His current interests including application of emerging applications, especially AI and ML for multilingual digital knowledge management and in sectors like agriculture, health and education. Anish Deshpande. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you may start your session, please.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction, ma'am. So, hello all. My name is Anish Deshpande, as introduced. So, I'm glad and I'm happy to be part of this session, to be taking this session because this is one where there is a new excitement in the air. As soon as ChatGPT was launched, there was a new wave of excitement in all the enthusiasts, in the entire community enthusiasts, where teachers, students, everybody alike, we have started to worry about what is this new leap. There has been a huge leapfrog in terms of advancement. So what are the implications on various domains, various sectors as we speak, and what is going to be the disruption? Because since the invention of internet, many scientists, many people who have been part of the AI community have been terming it as the second coming of the second wave of internet, as in internet is the most influential invention of mankind, and today AI stands as on par with it, or if not more. Even so many CEOs like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella have embraced AI, and they have started to make it uh, make it more public. I think it has become the knowledge that AI is going to disrupt many industries has gone public. So for us, it's important to understand what are the domains of AI, and through the domains of AI, it is important for us to understand what are the various sectors that the AI is going to disrupt. Because this is one area, because AI is an all-encompassing word. There are many domains in that. For example, image, text, video, audio. There are so many components of AI which will contribute to the advancement. As in, now, for example, as we have seen, I hope all of you are aware of ChatGPT. For example, it's a text-based AI where there is a human-like interaction with the large language model or as AI model. So likewise, it generates text. Likewise, there is a model which can generate an image. Likewise, there is a model which can generate an audio. Likewise, there is an how do we can generate video. So there are so many components where it is important for us to understand what are the directions which AI is going to take and what are the domains in it. So I made a presentation on it. I would like to share with you. Please give me a second. Is my screen visible? Okay, so first, first I would like to start with the fundamental definition of AI. So what exactly is AI, and what is that the machine will be able to do that humans also will be able to do? Because one thing about AI is it is as good as a human being, as in it can solve various tasks, specific tasks, not all the tasks. It can solve various specific tasks. So that it is getting broadened in terms of what AI is. So fundamentally, what AI is, it is the ability for machine to learn and think and solve problems like humans. Like for example, if I say a simple calculator like 1 plus 2 equal to 3. So it is a calculator and it is able to understand it. But if you are interacting with an AI, like for example, if I type what is the sum of 1 and 2, so the model, the underlying model should be able to understand that the prompt is asking me to perform an addition of numerals 1 and 2. So AI is a, I'm sorry, any, yeah. So as we can see, it is basically machines are mimicking human beings in terms of abilities. Like what are the patterns in the data? How do you understand if you train a model in huge amounts of data for a long period of time, it will be able to understand what are the nuances of language. Likewise, you can see here it understands the patterns. So once you understand the pattern, it makes a decision based on the training data. So once you have trained it on a specific data set of data and you ask a new question, it will be able to answer it based on what it has understood from the trained data. It's just like human brain where imagine we are fed with some textbooks and we have to read it and we will be asked questions based on that. So it is the same like uh, human brain, as in neurons. Even the networks, underlying networks are called as artificial neural networks. They mimic the neural networks that are in our brain. So that the connection between neurons, it has been studied and the model has been built, the models have been built to understand what is the network between, how to understand anything. Likewise, make decisions on the information and adapt and learn from experience. So we human being, one of our main USPs or one of our main this one is we are able to adapt to any situation or any condition. We just can't be rigid in terms of what we want to do. If there's a different situation arises as opposed to what we have initially thought of, we should be ready to tackle it and be able to we should have that ability to tackle the situation in an effective manner. Likewise, it's the same with AI model also. Though though you have trained on a specific set of data, there can be a new task which can arise tomorrow. So for that, the model which you are training today should be flexible enough that it will incorporate tomorrow data that we are inserting into it, and we can still be able to predict and give the correct answers based on our questions or prompts. So this is the fundamental definition of AI, where the machines will be able to mimic human-like abilities, like generating text, understanding the content, understanding the context, etc., etc. So as you can see, what are these models actually? So how should we train them so that they become this effective? What is the starting point? What is the ending point? For example, what is it that the models are being trained on? Obviously, it has to be data. So what exactly is data? For example, imagine a textbook. There are various chapters in it, and each chapter has various sections in it. So this is the data for the model. What we do, we just take the content and we feed it to the model to understand the nuances of the subject, to understand the nuances of the content. For example, you can see what role does data play in terms of today's AI landscape. I have outlined the various roles that AI plays in terms of understanding today's landscape, like foundation for learning. Data is a basic foundation for the model to learn. It should have a basis. It should have a base on which it will be able to learn what is the content and what is the context. So as you can see, data serves as a raw material. As in, you have a model and your data is the raw material for it. You are feeding the data to it in a very subdued, in a very contextualized manner. We can't just throw anything and everything in the model. Everything should be structured in terms of how we understand the subject. Like every chapter should be structured. Every section should be further divided into various subheadings. Likewise, the data that we train also should have the same thing. It should be structured and labeled properly so that AI will understand the nuances properly. Otherwise, what will happen is, as we have seen in the recent past, one thing that is being mentioned in terms of ChatGPT and other language models and other AI models is hallucination. If you don't train the model on correct data, on correct pattern, what happens is AI will pick anything and everything from the training data and will just bluff it without any understanding of it. So it is important for us to understand what role data plays in terms of training and enhancements of these models. And also it is the data that will help us in shaping the algorithm, like how much data you have, what is the type of data you have, is it image, is it text, is it video, is it audio. So what is the type of data and what data requires what algorithm. Each there is a nuance to each type of data. Text will not have the same nuance as audio, etc., etc. So it is important that these algorithms will be shaped based on what is the type of data you have. For example, hello. Hindi, I'm not as comfortable in Hindi, sir. Yeah. So likewise, once you have the data, it is also important. The third component of this is it drives the performance. So, like for example, how much data is enough to drive the performance? As in, like for example, today if I ask an AI model like Bard or something like that, if I ask what is the recipe of so and so, for it should be trained on the particular data. So likewise, it has to be trained on so like imagine there are hundreds of recipes on the internet. It has to be trained on hundreds of recipes so that when I ask something to it, it will be able to generate it. So the performance here is the accuracy or the correctness of the information. If you train it with a better data, if you train it in a better manner, what happens is the response you will be getting is also very neatly structured. Also, in terms of what happens in the recent past, there has been a huge jump in terms of the underlying hardware. So these models have to be hosted on a very performant, on a very efficient hardware for them to cater to billions of users around the world. So if your data is curated properly, it will help you in creating a nuanced model that will help you in driving a very effective performance. Like and more, next thing is unveiling the insights. So human beings by nature we are pattern matchers. So if we see something here, we try to map it in our brain to something else. Like for example, if a student is trying to understand a concept, he will try to map it to what he has seen in his home or anything else. So we are essentially pattern matchers and we try to learn from the patterns that we see and evolve. Likewise, even so because our the ability and the time constraints or anything because of the constraints, there can be a case where we might lose out on a lot of insights. So if, for example, if you have an Excel sheet and you want to understand what is the percentage of what all the nuances are covered in that Excel sheet or any PDF or anything, any data, any file. If you feed it to an AI model, it will help you to uncover new insights. Like, for example, if I have an Excel sheet of I want to know what is the share of the type of users I have in my this one. So and what is the percentage of the users distribution for what state and what people are accessing my website at what particular point in time. What is the time at which the peak hours? What is the time at which the system is going slow? What is happening to my performance if there are millions of users accessing the site at the same time? So all these if you have a data, the model will help you to uncover insights which you might or might not experience or you might or might not have anticipated before. What this does is it will help us in decision making. So we don't have to spend hours and hours of to understand what are the underlying patterns. Once we understand the patterns, we can apply these learnings for our next future projects. So that we are saving the cognitive and the time power that is required. Two, we are also able to apply it to the next subsequent thing that we will be able to do. So now that I have covered how data is important in terms of how it is going to drive the AI, it is also important for us to understand what is the ethical consideration of AI. So how much of data on the internet should be used to train the model, and how much of data is incorrect on the internet, how much of data there is racial, social, and cultural discrimination. So it is important to take the data appropriately and understand it. Hello. Yeah. So it is what the data. What happens is it's just for a model, a data is just a raw material. So for us, there are so many social constraints that we have to be aware of. So what we are training that the data model should not give an output that is racially incorrect, that is socially incorrect, that is culturally incorrect, inappropriate responses should not be given. So what happens is we have to train the model in an ethical way. At the same time, we should be aware of what is the data that should be trained. For example, we just other data cannot be used to train AI model. For example, because it might be available in the databases of so and so, but we cannot use it to train because there is an ethical and social restraint on it. It is not supposed to be used for everything and everything. Likewise, it is important whoever is developing these models, whoever are working in AI, it is important to understand what is the data that we should be able to train. What is the data which contains biases? We should be able to label the biases properly. This particular sentence elicits a racial abuse. This particular sentence elicits a socially inappropriate answer. So if you label it perfectly, label it appropriately, the model will also learn like human beings that okay, so it's not correct for me to elicit this response. I should rather resort to appropriate responses without any biases in my mind. So this is the overview of what the role of data will be played in the today's landscape because this is the raw material. Like for example, we have arrived here, we have arrived to ChatGPT or any large language models based on the trillions of tokens available on the internet. It's not just millions and it's not just some data. It is like huge corpus of data which is unimaginably huge. It's just it is a pain to label it, to structure it properly and to train it properly. So we have arrived at this point based on the data which is of the corpus of 3 trillion and 4 trillion tokens. So it is important for us to understand what exactly this data is. What exactly this data is going, the role of data is going to be in shaping the further advancements that are going to happen in this domain. I hope I am clear till now. Am I fine? Sorry, sir. Your mouth is not audible. Hello? PPT, sir? Yeah, sure, sir. At the end of the session, I will share with madam. Yeah, I'll share the PPT. Full screen. Okay. Is it fine, sir? Sorry? Full. No, it is full screen only. Is it visible, sir? Is it visible properly? Yes. Just give me a second. Yes, okay. So thank you. I hope I'm clear till now as what is the role of AI, what is the role that AI is going to play in terms of the shaping the future landscape and how it is going to further fuel the progress. So it is important to understand the underlying heart and soul of the models that are seeing today. So I hope I am clear in terms of the role of data in AI landscape. Just no, I'll just move to the next point. That is so one thing, as you can see here, the domains and applications of AI. We have discussed what is AI and what is the underlying whole and soul of AI. So now we can dwell into, based on that we can dwell into what are the domains and applications of AI. So this domain can be interpreted as two ways. One is within the subject of AI, what are the various research areas or various research domains that can be helpful in segmentation of the various domains and further propelling the progress. And the second thing as in domains is you can see it as the domains of social life, as in health, education, transport, etc., etc. The various sectors that we see in everyday life. So if you think of domains, there can be two interpretations of domains. So what I thought is, one, I will show you the technical domains that are present as part of AI. Through those technical domains, we'll understand what are the impact that is going to have on social domains. As in, for example, you can see something like natural language processing as a domain. So what is the impact of natural language processing on the domains of life, as in education, health, transportation? So what is going to the impact on all these sectors from natural language processing? So I thought I will divide into four domains so that we can discuss it in deep detail and understand the various progress that will be involved. And all these research domains are at various stages at this point. Like for example, natural language processing is has been at the rate of progress has been unimaginable in natural language processing. Likewise, robotics is at a nascent stage. The development is vast, but still it is not as much as say a domain like natural language processing. We are going to see robots and robotics that it is going to advance further with groundbreaking innovations that are happening today. So all these research domains are at various stages. It is important to note that all these research areas are at various stages in terms of development and the pickup point and in terms of leapfrogging, etc., etc. So as you can see, the first one is machine learning. So machine learning is like, for example, as you can see here, the one line definition or one line pinpoint can be it learns, the machine is going to learn based on the patterns and it will make predictions from data. Like for example, if you train the data on enough, I'll just tell you a simple example. Like for example, if I go on, if I open my Amazon app, and if I sort of scroll through it, and if I bookmark it, if I wishlist it, and if I visit a thing like sports category on Amazon for n number of times, what happens is my popular page or my for you page will be populated with all the sports new entries, all the related items that are related to sport. So what is happening here is, once I open the app and I'm scrolling through and I'm interacting with the content that is present on the app, the underlying model is able to understand that this particular user is, like for example, if I visit a sports page for 10 times and if I visit a kitchen and home appliances page for one time in my overall usage of Amazon, spend time on Amazon. So what it understands is this particular user is interested more in sports. This particular user is interested more in sport equipment. So what it does is it will remember that it is going to understand my sentiment without even me explicitly saying it. Like there is one thing to just say that okay, I like sports, I like sports, so just show me the sports items. It is one thing. The other thing is I'm not explicitly saying anything. I'm just doing my normal activity, but the model is able to understand that okay, this particular user is interested in this particular item. So it is able to understand the pattern and it is able to predict that okay, this particular user is interested in this particular. So I should, the next time the user visits my home page, it is important that I populate his home page with a sport equipment or something like that. So what happens is it is able to understand the pattern and at the same time it is able to predict my what is predict my action. So it is machine learning as a domain is explicitly meant for this. It is meant for models to understand the pattern and perform analytics and perform actions based on the underlying patterns and etc., etc. So likewise the next domain is computer vision. So computer vision, it's obviously the what you call, the name itself specifies that identify, analyze and classify visual imagery. For a system, for a computer, what is vision? What does vision even mean? Like it will not be able to see the world, right? So what does vision even mean? And as we can see, the recent past, there have been we are seeing a huge jump in computer vision as a domain, because as you can see, there are so many images that are AI generated. As in, if you say generate an image with a generate an image with a person playing chess on a beach. Like if I give something a prompt like this, the AI will generate exactly an image that is human-like. That it is going to generate an image which will show a human playing chess on a beach. So this computer vision field is responsible for that progress, for that the discoveries have led to these particular models. Likewise, natural language processing, the most important, the most leapfrogged domain of all these things, because as you can see, I mentioned here also, the underlying it is the underlying research area that powers it is the various human various what you call researchers, scientists, etc., they have been specialized under natural language processing as a AI domain, which led to various discoveries like ChatGPT, bard, etc. So, and the last one is robotics. Robotics are everybody's childhood dream, like since our childhood, at least my childhood, have been interested in how robotics is going to solve our problems. Like, will robotics be able to, act as a vacuum cleaner for my house? Will robotics be able to, move items within my house without my effort? So, robotics is one, as there has been so much of physical work and so much of physicality can be solved using robotics, because there are so many things where we might need the help of robotics to, so that we don't have to worry about the the work that it requires to get it done. So these are the four domains, and I'll just dwell into what those four domains and what have been discovered as far as so. Is it visible? Hello. Yeah, it's fine, right? Is so far so good, right? Yeah. So first we'll start with machine learning as that first domain. So as you can see, I said it before also, like you know, it is the ability for to empower the systems. It is the ability to empower the software systems, the computers, to learn from the data and predict or perform a given task. So what are the USPs of machine learning? Like what makes it so special to be for it to be in the four domains of artificial intelligence as we speak? So these are the various outlines. Like these machine learning has various algorithms that will learn. For example, if you're training if you're training based on text, so it will learn in a particular way. It will understand that okay, there is a pattern here. Likewise, if you're training on image data, it will understand it differently. So as we have discussed earlier also, the algorithms are flexible enough to learn what is the type of data we have. That is one thing. And the second thing is different flavors for different tasks. For example, we will discuss it as we go further in terms of what are the various branches of ML. But to be specific, or to outline it in one sentence, like you can look at here, like as in specific tasks require specific algorithms. We cannot just use one particular algorithm for solving one particular task. As you can see here, unsupervised learning tries to understand unlabeled data to find hidden patterns. Reinforcement learning understands the desired action. Like for example, unsupervised learning, what it does is okay, even if you don't label the data, it will try to, if you train it on enough data, it will be able to understand that okay, what are the patterns in this. Reinforcement learning, like for example, the what is the area of ML that has led so much to the development of large language models is reinforcement learning. It is one area. Reinforcement, it is known as RLHF, reinforcement learning with human feedback. So what it does is, if you are reinforcing the model to act in a particular way. Like for example, please write a poem for me in the style of PG Woodhouse. If I say like this, please, like if your first prompt is please write a poem, and the the model will generate a poem for you. Now you are giving it a feedback. Okay, now you have generated this poem, but give me in the style of P.G. Woodhouse or whatever your favorite poet is, or in the style of Rabindranath Tagore. So what happens is it will you are reinforcing the model to give as a human you are giving your feedback on the response. So what it does is it reinforces its answer based on the input that you have given, and it will generate a poem that is akin to Rabindranath Tagore or whatever you have given. It will not be the exact replica or it will not be the same one, but it understands the patterns and it will understand your context and it will generate based on that. And what is going to happen in terms of impact? Like for example, you can see here ML as a field is going to have a various vast impact across various fields. Like for example, healthcare, self-driving, etc., etc. Even the education, everything they are going to be whatever reinforced forever with the advancements in the recent ML trends. Likewise, the data of power, as we have discussed earlier, it is important for us to understand the importance and the power of data because this is the base of model. So once you have good data, so we are going to have models which are unparalleled in terms of its abilities. Like the scientists of the scientists in the recent past have termed it as AGI, artificial general intelligence. That is, AI models will be able to excel in vast domains of tasks that we human do. Like we can sing, we can write, we can dance, we can do various tasks. So AGI, what it does is it will excel in various vast fields of human interaction and human abilities. So that is why the power of data it is important for us to understand the power of data. And the next one is evolving landscape. So why should anybody pursue ML? Why should anybody understand machine learning as a domain? It is because the underlying models, the underlying progress has been so vast, so fast, and it has been so good that it is important for us to hold on to it and see where it takes us in terms of the next generation of software systems. Yeah. So the next one is what are the types of machine learning? So broadly, machine learning can be classified into three types. One is supervised learning, one is unsupervised learning, one is reinforcement learning. Okay. Supervised learning is where you are supervising the model. You are training the model on your data and you are supervising it. That is, as you can see here, predicting this housing prices based on historical data. Historical data in the sense you have trained the model on your data. So now all you want is to, for it, like for example, if there is a gradual 1% increase in housing prices, that you don't know whether how much has been an increase, whether it is 1%, 2%, you don't know. But you have trained it on enough data. So it will understand that between 2015 to 2023, each year there has been 1% increase in the housing prices. So the next time you ask it, okay, what is going to be the housing price in 2024? So it will understand that okay, every year there has been a 1% rise. So the next price in 2024 will be 2023 plus 1% of the price. So that will be the effective housing price. So that is the example where the supervisor, that is, you have supervised the model to understand what it should understand. The second one is unsupervised learning. Without any, algorithms identify patterns and relationships without any labels. That is, there is no, as we discussed earlier, it is like Amazon, for example, my Amazon home page. So I've just opened the app, I've just scrolled through various products, I've just visited various categories, and I can visit any category at any point in time. I can scroll between any pages at any point in time. So there is no label here. So I can perform n number of activities in my time that I spent on the app. So it is important for the model to understand, to gather all this data and understand the patterns later. Like for example, what it does is it will not have any labels. It will just track the data. It will just keep whatever has been going on till now, and then it will understand. Okay, so and so has visited this particular page so and so times. So it will rank the pages based on it, and then it will take the action. The subsequent action will be taken based on the learning that has acquired, that it has acquired from the data that you have given to it. The next thing is reinforcement learning. As we have discussed earlier, this is the area reinforcement learning which has led to the progress by far. So for example, if I say something and if I tell you something, if I tell you it is good, it is bad, I can, as a human, I can understand it better and give you an accurate response. For example, if I submit my assignment and you tell me it is good, then it is it is a reward. It is a reward, and it is like validation for my work. So that the next time if I'm submitting my assignment, I will be able to do it in the same passion, in the same effort, that because I have been rewarded before. So that reward is making me to work in the same pattern the next time. For example, if you say me it is bad, if my assignment is bad, if my points are bad, so I have to take that feedback and fuel it in a way that it will not, the mistake will not occur again. So I have to, the next time I'm working on my assignment, or if I'm submitting my assignment, I have to know that the previous one was bad, so I should not take any patterns from the previous one. I should only take the learnings and do my assignment better this time. So this sort of reinforcement learning, this sort of reward mechanism that will help us humans in striving to do better, is the same for models also. Like for example, if a model generates an answer for you and you tell it is good, yes, it is good for you, then what it does is it will be able to categorize and understand that for this particular user, this is the style I'm going to take. Like if you say no, the answer that you have given is not correct, or the pattern or the syntax or the semantics of the response is not correct. So what it does is the next time it is generating an answer, it will take that, okay, this particular person has flagged this as issues, so I should respond it in a different way this time. So it will, once you're trained, what happens is you're trained on enough data, so it will understand that, okay, this pattern is not going to work, so I have to find different pattern and respond it in efficient manner so that the user is not going to be disappointed. And you can see it in it is in nascent stages, automated vehicle, but you will understand that once the vehicle is going to understand the pattern of the traffic, once the vehicle is going to understand that, okay, this particular way, if I say this particular way is not good for 7 days, okay, this particular road is not good, a construction is going on to the model for 7 days. On 8th day, it should stop recommending me that route. That is, on based on human feedback, it is learning and it is suggesting me better answers. So this is just an overview example of how these various fields of ML are going to take place with real life examples, so that what happens is these are the fields that will drive the progress in terms of what are the software products that we'll be able to see in the next 5 or 10 years. So, based on all three areas of ML, we have come to a conclusion that these are the various key components of ML. That is the data. Obviously, that we have been discussed all through this talk. Data is the heart and soul of the AI models, so ML models. So it is important. The data should be quality. The quantity of data is as important as the quality of data, and vice versa. You just cannot have, like for example, I'll just tell you an example. OpenAI, the company that built ChatGPT, it has been trained on like 3 trillion tokens, for example. Imagine we have the same 3 trillion tokens, okay, the data, but the quality is bad, as in it is not as labeled, as structured as the data that they have trained on. And we train our model. There is going to be a huge difference in terms of the quality of the models. The, the data that is trained with correct and structured and labeled data will provide outstanding results. There you can see the quantity of two models is same, but the quality and the effort that is put in to label it and structure it properly is going to yield us better results. So it is important to understand the data is crucial for it, and then features. So this ML, what are the features that is going to do? Is it going to predict the next what is going to be the answer? or it is going to give us an answer that will make us make an informed decision. As in, for example, as we have discussed earlier, the housing example, it is able to predict what is going to be the housing price based on that data that it has been trained on. And algorithms, obviously, the algorithms are the what you call the step-by-step procedure, as you can see. So, if I have this particular data, what stage, at what step should be performed at what stage? That is defined by algorithm. That is determined by algorithm. So, it is important that ML algorithms are improving at a vast faster rate, so that there is going we can accommodate so much data within them. And the last one, the key component is model training and testing. So we have the data and we have the algorithms. So what are we going to do? We will obviously train the model with our software programming, and which will help us to make the decision. So what happens here is, it is important to test the model after we train it. Just because we trained it on quality data, just because we trained it on huge amount of tokens or anything, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be able to generate a accurate text for the 90. For example, let's take a threshold of 90% of the time. So it's not going to happen. We have to test it using different ways. My question, for example, if I'm asking a question to a model, what is the value of 1 and 2? What is the value of sum of 1 and 2? And the other person might ask, what is the addition response of 1 and 2? The third person will ask, what does 1 plus 2 mean? The fourth person will have, what is 2 plus 1? So the prompt underlying question is the same, but various people are asking it in various ways. So it is important for us to test in all possible ways, so that the model is going to generate a standard and a quality response across all the prompts. So just because if the first person is getting the correct answer, that the answer is 3, and the other persons are getting the wrong answers, it means that the data is not fine-tuned enough, the model is not fine-tuned enough, that it has been not trained properly, which is why it is not able to understand the nuances and come up with the appropriate answer, standard answer. And the last one is applications of machine learning in ML as we have seen it. So, healthcare, finance, retail, transportation, these are the various areas where there are applications. Like for example, in retail, as you have seen, personalized recommendations, inventory management, and transportation, as we have discussed earlier also, route optimization. It should be able to understand what is accurate route at this point in time. Because what is, if a road is clogged with traffic at a particular time, it doesn't mean that it stays clogged with traffic till the night. So it should be able to understand, okay, at a particular point in time there has been a reduction in traffic. So the people who are coming now, they should be recommended with this particular route, so that they are not missing out on the optimized route. So that is what we mean. Even in healthcare, I'll tell you at the end. So what are the various advancements made in terms of it, so that we can get a better grasp in healthcare. For example, Google recently has come up with MedPalm 2. That is, it is like having a personal doctor. Imagine all of us have access to a personal doctor. Obviously, there are going to be nuances, which I mean, there are always going to be ifs and buts. But the underlying question is, what if we have access to personal doctor that will understand our health condition based on our patient history? Obviously, at the end of the day, we should go to doctor, but it will, if you have access to our personal doctor, AI personal doctor, it will help us understand our health condition better, so that we will be able to make our decisions better, instead of rushing every time and sort of the nick of or whatever. So it is important that once we have access to better models, what it is going to transform various sectors, and these are some of the sectors that I have mentioned. There are going to be various applications that if the recent innovations are anything to go by, we are going to see rapid and radical changes in terms of how every sector operates. So in terms of ML, so what is the challenge and what are the future potentials? As we have discussed earlier also, data privacy. What should be trained and what data should be accessed to train, what data should not be accessed to training. So what if someone's personal data, it should not be used to train a model that will be used by someone else. Like it should not be the data which is personal should remain personal. The data should which is public only should be used to training, without missing out on the corpus of data. So it is huge task for any ongoing research that data, because we don't want any private data to be leaked to the public. So it is important to understand that data privacy is of utmost importance in the in the landscape that we are in. Bias in data, as I have said earlier, it is important that the response should not hurt human being. You know, it should not racially, socially, culturally, it should not hurt someone who is using the model, because it's not correct. Humans are, because the whole point is to not have prejudice and bias in the way we have, in the way we work, in the way we go about our life. So if there is a bias in data, it is important that it has to be solved. It has, even if the data, even if it is trained, the model should not be open to the public. So because it is explicitly eliciting so many biased responses. So it is important for us to understand it. And model interpretability. We have discussed earlier also. Like someone can ask 1 plus 2, someone can ask add 1 and 2, someone can ask what is the addition that happens when I add 1 and 2, what is the response that happens when I add 1 and 2. So one particular question can be asked in various different ways, and the model should be able to understand that okay, this particular person is asking, person is asking what happens when I add 1 and 2. What he means is what is the value of 1 plus 2. So it should be able to interpret all the human interpretations and then come up with a standard answer. So this is the challenges and future potential. As you know, this is a field where the innovations are happening at a rapid pace. So and one thing, as I have told you, there also the hardware. What was stopping all these years for Google or Microsoft or anyone is the presence of hardware. Now recently, Nvidia, I'm sure you must have heard of Nvidia GPUs and Google TPUs. These propel today's models. If these underlying hardware are not capable enough to understand such huge models, so the pace of innovation would not be as what we are seeing right now. So it is important to understand that the huge computational power we are seeing today will only increase. It's not going to decrease. So the potential of what we can accomplish if we have good models is unparalleled, and and it will the power and the what we call the ML essence will spread to various fields also, because the discoveries I will show at the end. Like for example, recently Google has come up with a model which where it is able to make its own, it is able to understand the protein structure, it is able to understand the protein structure and come up with the own medicine for that, but what should be the appropriate medicine for this particular protein structure, etc., etc. And it will obviously unlock deeper insights for what we are going to see. So the second domain, as we have discussed earlier, computer vision. What exactly is computer vision and how? I'm sure you must have heard of OCR. Optimal character recognition. For example, if you, I'll show OCR in action actually. Hello, am I? Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. Is it audible? Is it visible currently? Hello? 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 Is it visible properly? Infinite screen. Is it? Has it taken the full? Okay, once. Yeah, is it visible? Is the screen visible? Hello? Yeah. So, as you can see, I was yesterday about computer vision course. For example, I've just given the model this image. I hope you are aware of what BARD is. It is a model from the Google that has been released recently. So I have just given this image, and this image has a text, as you can see at the end. This is the text at the end. And I asked the models, can you just extract the text from this image? So as you can see in the model, the text in the image is vector stock, which is correct, obviously, and it is giving some description of the image. So this is the computer vision, or this is the what you call the eyes of the model. As the naked eye can understand what is there in the image, but the model is able to understand. The model is also able to decipher the image, see the image content, and and it is accurately answering what is the text of the image. For example, if tomorrow if I add a PDF, okay, school PDF, and I ask it, can you just extract the text from this PDF so that I can copy it for other purpose? What it will do, it will just accept the PDF and it will just give me the text as a response that I can use it for further purposes. It is saying lot of human time and effort in us trying to do it. If we have to do it, we have to open a new notepad. We have to type each and every sentence that is there in the PDF without losing out on spelling mistakes or whatever. So AI will just solve that. Like we can do that within seconds, or at the most minutes, and we need not spend much time on it. So, and this sort of rapid response is powered by the field called computer vision. This sort of the magic wand where we are getting the response within seconds of what we want to see. So this what area has propelled this much is the area is known as computer vision. So this is a brief example of computer vision and how if you are training the computer vision, what happens is you are training the model on various images so that it will understand the nuance of an image as opposed to text, and it will be giving us the response accurately in the relation to the image. So as the process of training remains, it remains to be the same across any form of data. It could be image, video, audio, what anything. The first thing you have to do is you have to acquire the data. So if it is text, we acquire textual corpus. If it is image, we acquire textual data, image data, and then we have to process it. As in, we have to label it properly. Like if I have an image of a rose, the label should be this is an image of a rose, etc. So I am labeling the image as per the correct description so that it will be so when the user asks what give me an image of the rose, it will understand okay what are the roses image that I have been trained on. So it will pick all those nuances from it and it will generate a rose image. Object detection and recognition that we will see in application, like how it is going, computer vision is going to applied in the various social domains as we see. Classification, for example, if I for example, if I have various images and all those images are particular painting. For example, there is a Renaissance art, there is a Van Gogh style of art, there is a surrealistic painting, there is an impressionistic painting, there is a realistic painting or vector art. So for example, we have various kinds of arts. We have now I don't know what is what. So what I will do, I just upload the image, I just ask it what is the style of painting that this particular image will fall into, and that will happen when you're training the data, if you're classifying the image properly, so when you're classifying the images properly, it will understand that this particular pattern, this particular style will correspond to this particular style of painting. So if I upload my image, can you just tell me what style does it belongs to? It responds with it belongs to impressionistic painting. It is because it has been trained on thousands and lakhs of impressionistic paintings that it will be able to understand the nuances, and because the images have been classified as so. You just can't classify a vector painting as impression. If you classify a vector painting as impressionistic painting and someone asks something, it will do a wrong answer obviously because it has not been labeled properly. So this sort of image classification is an important step in attaining the computer vision in the correct manner. Okay, so applications of computer vision, as you can see here, because one thing is it is going to transform healthcare. As I said earlier, if you can scan your MRI or any image that you have, and you just ask the questions pertaining to it, so it will okay. This particular problem is an L4 L5 disc problem. So there is a rupture that has happened at this particular junction of the spinal cord, and that it is happening because so and so nerve compression has happened. So for example, I'm saying as a medical diagnosis, it diagnoses the if you upload your report, your ECG, anything, ECG, MRI, or various sorts of report, it will be able to understand the what is happening in the report, and it will be able to suggest you. Like for example, if a doctor is busy or if your appointment is tomorrow and you want to understand what is happening with the reports, you can just healthcare industry will be transformed with this sort of aid with you with the computer. Sorry, if the computer vision is going to expand as a field is going to expand, it is going to mean a lot to healthcare and automotive industry and manufacturing, etc. Like as you can see here, security. One thing is, as security is of utmost importance. Like for example, if you have an image, you have a CC camera and someone is accessed unauthorized access has unauthorized access, so you want to understand who is it and what is the time at which they have accessed and so on and so forth. If you have the video of them accessing unauthorized, if there was an unauthorized access, what it does is it will be able to understand the nuances of a human image. So once you zoom in, as we this is something which we have seen in films also, like image security, where there is a zoom in terms of the human image, and it will understand okay, this image is matching with someone in the criminal record. Like for example, imagine police have so many criminal records, images access to so many criminal records, and someone has unauthorized access recently. So what they will do, they will take the image from the CC camera and they will search through the images that they have in their system, and the models are so advanced that somewhere it will match that okay, this particular person features matches with this particular image in your database, in your repository. So it means that this sort of this sort of matching is possible because of computer vision. So now it is so much more easier for police to track the criminal or to perform the next action, because the criminal has already been identified within seconds or within minutes if they have the criminal records earlier. So if it is a repeat, they can understand and they can take the action immediately. So this sort of transformation, this sort of radical development will occur in the social security in terms of law enforcement, etc., etc. And image generation, this is I will show you in action what image generation looks like.
अरे घड़ा था हाँ दस तो से जो
Are you able to see my screen? Yeah, so I'll just show a live example of image generation using text prompts. Okay, so I'll just You can see these are the images that are generated by AI. All I have given is I have given prompt, that is please generate an image that just encapsulates the essence of artificial intelligence. I have given the image, and you can see that these are the AI generated images, and within seconds it has been generated. Whether it is good or not, whether it will be useful for further purposes, is obviously is a matter of development. There will obviously be a day where it will generate high quality, high resolution images. But it understood the essence of my question, and it has generated three images for me. And this is possible because of the advancements in computer vision, and this will helpful in content creation also. Like if you want to explain a particular concept, okay, some people will understand it if there's a visual aid, like they want to understand the graphs and they want to understand through visuals, not through text. So what we can do, we can just give our content and it will generate the image, so that you can further work on it. Like for example, you can tell it, okay, this is not what I want. Can you just give me a more advanced version? Can you just finance it a lot more? You can always have your way through to arrive at the your needs. Like you can arrive at the image that you want. So it will be radically helpful in terms of content creation and creating content for students. If there are images that will help students to understand a concept or grasp the concept better, so it is always a helpful aid for us to have, so that there has been a collective advancement in terms of how human beings are able to learn by spending very little effort. Okay, as we have seen, image generation is one thing that is going to radically, and this is there is a sort of multimodal relation here. Like I'm asking it in terms of text, but I'm asking an image. So, what image corresponds to what? Like how is the interaction between a text and image happening? How is a text being converted into a useful image? So these are this sort of cross domain relationships are also there. Like it's not just one domain is independent of another. Like there is a element of natural language processing also in this image generation, as you can see, because I am passing a text, I'm not passing, okay, I am giving you an image, generate an image which is of this sort of this kind. It's not like that. I'm giving a text description to generate an image. So the fields are not exclusive of each other. They are not mutually exclusive. They are dependent and co-dependent on each other, across fields, which is why the development happens, the cross domain development happens if there is a dependency on each other also. Okay, so as yeah, well, the second part, so the second domain, that is challenges in future trends of computer vision. Any domain you take, any subject you take in machine learning, it ultimately boils down to data, whether it's text, image, video, audio. That is obviously that has been told earlier. So it will be able to, where we have diverse and complex visual data. As I said earlier also, like for example, if I'm training it on impressionist, surrealist, realistic paintings, which means that I have to have images of all these three kinds for me to train the model. Just so that when that's when there is a like appropriation of human ability is going to happen. Like for example, a human can draw any image if given access or if given a starting point. Likewise, if the model has been trained on various images, surrealist, impressionist, realistic paintings. So what happens is it is much more equipped to deal with various kinds of requirements of humans. Like for example, I can have a different requirement as opposed to a second person, and the third person will have completely different requirements. So if a model has to cater to multiple people, of multiple requirements. It has to be trained on multiple sorts of data that we see in real life, so that everybody is satisfied with the output. And AR VR, as we have seen, even the recent augmented reality, virtual reality has taken a new leap of how it is going to. Meta recently launched a glasses also, like and Apple has been at the forefront of AR VR for a long time now. Apple as a company, so there is going to be an integration happening also. Like for example, this computer vision will be integrated with AR. We have to understand, okay, if you are playing a game, if you are playing a video game, okay, what is the gun, what is the obstacle, what is the point at which I have to take a turn. So these all computer vision integrations will be helpful in creating a robust AR, augmented reality and virtual reality applications. So third thing, as I have said earlier, the most important and the most radical development that we have seen in recent times, that is understanding the human language and understanding to the questions of human language, which has been, recently that has been termed as LLMs, that is large language models. As in, the AI model is able to understand parts of speech, it is able to understand what is the noun, pronoun, etc., etc., everything, the syntax, the semantics, how is the structure, the sentence of a structure formed, when to use what. So this has been, there has been uh, uh, development of paramount importance that has happened in this domain in the recent past. So it is, if you just put it, if you want to just boil it down to one sentence, it is the ability for machine to understand the human language. Like I am speaking something, our brains are able to comprehend because we know the meanings of these words, and we are able to pattern match it to what we already know. So how can a machine understand what we are speaking? Like how can a machine understand the nuances of human language? So this part of domain, that is this natural language processing, this is what will help the models, the algorithms of these NLP are going to help the machine to understand what the human actually means. You know, the aim is to bridge the gap between human communication and computer understanding. So I'll just give you a small example in terms of how it is going to affect. For example, now today I have, you know, uh, I'm interacting with my system. I am holding a mouse in my hand and I am pointing it here, 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 and it is able to. We are able to interact with the systems like this. Now, for example, if I have a voice assistant on my system, I'll say, please go to documents folder, find the PDF called so and please upload it to, please and just let me that upload it to this particular place. Like for example, if there is a file uploaded. So for example, if there is a problem of vision problem or anything, I can only speak. Imagine if I only speak. So I'll tell my system what to do. You know, the model will understand. Okay, this is what you meant. I have access to your system, so I just go to the prescribed folder and I just place the document in the like imagine if you're filling an application process and there's a field called resume. Okay, so visually impaired person is trying to fill an application process and someone asks him to get the resume. So what he will do is he can speak it. So he's interacting with the system in the natural language. There is no what you call problem in terms of okay now how do I access it, or it is going to transform the way we interact with our systems also. It's not just mouse keypad everything. It is going to be in the natural language. Even there are within, okay, copy the image from pictures folder to documents folder. So this is going to happen because of natural language processing, as in because we are able to understand that okay so and so has said something, so we have to adhere to this process, which means that the way we are interacting with software systems as we speak is going to transform. It's not going to remain the same with the recent advancements that we are seeing of late. They are called as AI agents. Agents, as in what we call agents in our general norms. Like agent is someone who does something. Like he's assigned a task and he will do something. So these AI agents are going to be all over the place in the coming future because they will be responding to the task that we ask them to do. So they are known as AI agents based on, and the field will be natural language processing. As we can see here, core components of NLP. Someone has raised a hand. Any question? Okay. So core components of NLP. Okay. So what does imagine there are NLP is basically text based interaction. As you can see, syntax and semantics analysis. The model will be able to understand the, like, if I give an essay, if I ask someone to write an essay on particular person, and he writes that essay, and if I want to understand what he means by it, what is the sentiment of it, is it a like, for example, tomorrow imagine, like, a feedback is open, a feedback for a school or an institution is open, where people are filling the forms, okay, and they will just type the sentences as what they want to do. Now you want to understand what is the percentage of feedback that is positive, and that is positive in my favor, and what is the percentage of opinions that have a problem, that are negative, and which need to be addressed. So for, you need a properly properly aligned response for you, so that you can make insights. For example, if 40% are saying it's good, and 60% are saying it's bad, so there is a dissonance happening there. So you need to understand what went wrong. So for this sort of sentiment analysis, like, you can't just scroll through the 1,000 feedback forms that are submitted and then flag it as, okay, this response is positive, this response is negative, so and so, and you have to do it for 1,000 responses. Imagine you have an AI model at your disposal, where you can just dump these 1,000 responses to the model, and it will just give you the response. Okay, the overall feedback of the feedback forms has been positive, and then you can further interact also. How much has been positive? How much has been negative? What is the place from which most negative responses have come? What is the place from which most positive responses have come? So etc. So this sort of sentiment semantics analysis and sentiment analysis can be done through models. And text classification, imagine there's some wrong content in the essay, or someone wrote something very explicitly wrong in the essay. So if you have the what this does is, it will classify, okay, this is not correct, this is incorrect, this is not correct, there's a it will flag it as there's a potential abuse, potential problem in this particular essay. So it will classify the text, classify the essay or text or whatever it is in a essentially correct format. Machine translation, as I just show you a, I just show you an example of machine translation in action. Are you able to see the screen? Hello? Yeah, is my screen visible now? Yeah, so this is a project worked on, which is known as Wikaspedia, which is multilingual portal, that is, repository, like you can imagine as Wikipedia. Wikipedia, all of you have heard of Wikipedia. So this is Wikipedia in Indian context. Like you can see, the content is spread across 8 domains and for 22 languages. You can see here. Now, I'll show you an example. Now, I am in this page, new loan scheme for backward classes. Now, if I don't know English. I want to read the content in Telugu or Hindi, but the content is not available. What I will do, click on translate to Hindi. As you can see, the same. Yeah, yeah, you can see the same content, English content, has been translated to Hindi, and my accessibility problem has been solved. Now I can read the content in Hindi in the language that I want. So this sort of translation, this is known as machine translation. That this text, it will map the meanings of the English words to the Hindi words, and it will be coming up with a translation, machinistic translation. So this sort of you know language barriers can be removed through AI. You can just use this sort of translate feature, and you can translate the content in whatever language you want, and you can just solve your accessibility issues at the tip of your at the tip of your finger. This is what I wanted to show in terms of the effect of machinistic translation, advanced machinistic translation tools that will remove the language barriers.
ये तो बड़ा ये तो क्या सही है गूगल में इंग्लिश तो हाँ तो क्या
Now coming back to the presentation, I hope it was clear. Was my presentation clear there? Yeah. So applications of NLP, what are the various areas where NLP can be applied? Chatbots and virtual assistants, which is essentially you can think of ChatGPT or Bard or etc. Where those are chatbot where we are interacting with them in a human-like format, and they are responding to us in a human-like text. The text that is generated is human-like. It's not some robotic text. It is like the way we everyday humans interact. It is picking the nuances and responding it in that fashion. So content analysis, healthcare, medical literature, where we can understand the patient records and understand the literature, and we can classify it as such. And education, as we have discussed, is going to there is going to be a huge outburst of AI generated essays or AI generated homework assignments, because they are just easy at the cusp of hand. You have lots of advanced models which will give you a feel that it has been written by human. So there are going to be efforts which will be put to understand what is fair and what is unfair in this, which we will discuss later. And search engines, recently I'll just show you an
गुवाहाटी
example.
आया तो मानवा માટે આયા था એટલે જ કીધું કે હિન્દીમાં કમ્ફર્ટેબલ શરૂ કર્યું ત્યારે કમ્ફર્ટેબલ
Is the screen visible? Yeah, so now you can see here generative AI. This particular thing is a Google one, as in Google search engine has come up with an AI overview. If I search something, various information will be present across various portals. For example, if I search a particular thing, like particular portal or particular text, Wikipedia will have some information, some other Medium blog will have some information, some other Substack will have some other information. So this sort of generative AI, what it does is it will pick the information from all the portals, and it will give you an overview. This is the overview that is come up from the model that has gone through various search portals, and it has come up with the overview. So this sort of you know uh, rapid change in search engines also. Like, it's not just you have to search for something and you have to scrape through hundreds and thousands of web documents to get to where you want. Sometimes if you search for something, if you are not getting something, you can just click on generate from Google, and it will just generate whatever it has found till now, so that it will you can still further search for what you want, but it will give you an overview, and it will give you what will be the nature of content for the next web pages, the search results. So search is also going to be transformed in the AI is also going to transform search as we know it. So that is search engine and the impact of AI on search engines. And this is one thing, recently we have seen Ola, Ola, that is a popular cab booking service. It has come up with a model, Indian AI model, that is Krutrim, if I'm Krutrim, that is working on it. So why is it so important in the Indian context? As we have seen, most of the advancements have come up from America or Western states. So there is little to no representation of of our multilingual heritage. Like for example, we are distributed across 28 states with various languages. As you can see, Hindi, Bengali, Malayali, Telugu, Tamil, etc. You know, if I ask an AI model to generate an essay in English, it will do fine. Now, if I ask it to generate an essay in Tamil or Telugu or Gujarati, it will not do well because there is no data, or there is little data that it was trained on. So it is especially important because because the languages were given less precedence. So it is important for us to understand in India's context, this progress of AI is so important in terms of the multilingual heritage. It is important that it should cater to people of various linguistic backgrounds. It should not just be English and done. Various linguistic backgrounds will have various requirements. So this is one of the major challenges in the way we interact with the intelligent advanced system. In the future, like it is important that various language will have different contexts. The model should understand context. The model should taking the fact that there is a language diversity that is at play here. Continuous learning. As I said, it should not just be rigid in terms of the responses. The phrases will always keep coming in all the languages. So the responses also, the model should also improve its responses based on the latest additions to the literature and the phrases, etc. etc. The future, it is the future is going to be lot more advanced, lot more spellbinding, to put it that way, in terms of the models are going to get sophisticated. The models are going to be used for various purposes across industries. It's not just someone in software, someone in nuanced sort of sector is going to use it. It is going to be applied across sectors, across industries, and it is going to empower the workforce. Human-like interaction. The most important advantage is that you need not learn something else. You can interact with it in the way that you interact with fellow human beings also. So that this is the main advantage. You need not bank or depend on something else. It is what you already know. You will interact with the machines, so that it will give a human-like interaction feel to it. And the last domain of our topic, which is robotics. As I told earlier, robotics is one area where the advancements are happening, but not as brisk as we have seen in other domains. So this is robotics is going to take place, like as we have seen recently. Google has come up with a robot which is able to play football. It is two robots. They have constructed two robots and they made it play football. It is able, they were able to compete with each other, and they were able to strike a goal. And this sort of abilities, robotics, as we have seen, vacuum cleaners have become robotic vacuum cleaners. We have seen they have become a rage in the recent past. So many houses are equipped with vacuum cleaners which are robotic. I think you have a remote and you can control it the way you want to, like the corners of the house. Before hitting the obstacle, how much you want to, how long should it go on, so on and so forth. Robotics has This is one area that has taken huge, that is going to take a huge jump in terms of the abilities. And as with other domains, also the robotics, it is important to understand to have a grasp of the surroundings, and you can only get a grasp of the surroundings when you are equipped with the proper vision. A robot will able to understand what is an obstacle and what is not, and how to overcome that obstacle, how to circumvent that obstacle, only when it is trained and when it is perceptive enough to categorize as what is what. So this sort of elements of AI are important for propelling robotics into further grounds, as in data processing, as actual and actuation and movement. So it has to be precise. The movement should not be a hindrance to some other one. It's like old quote, your freedom ends where my nose starts. So it's like that. The movement of a robot should not be a hindrance for human, for a movement of a human. So it should be able to understand the both the nuances of human movement and the actual movement that is destined to. So it should flag it appropriately and understand it properly. Machine learning, adapting various. It's not just if a robot on the day one of your acquisition should not be like a day 60 or day 70. Whatever you have performed on this day 60, on the 60 days, you should be able to learn from it and become a better robot on 61st day. That is a huge challenge for this robot, because they should understand it and they should process it and they should implement it correctly to become a better robot on the 61st day. So that sort of advancement will happen from experiences if you improve the data and the performance quality over time. As discussed, applications of all these AI powered domains are going to there across sectors: education, service, healthcare, industrial automation, everywhere. These sort of domain, the products that will arise from these domains are going to have their impact on various sectors. There is that has been we are already seeing we are in the brisk of it, they are in the cusp of it, and it is going to, these sort of products are going to have an implication across sectors, across workforces. So what does future hold like for something like computer vision, something like robotics? Challenge. What are the challenges? Huge. It is, the challenges are anything like we have seen, nothing like we have seen before. The challenges in robotics are very unique to the subject itself. It's very hard to sort of design and program a robot that will adhere to human instructions properly. Sometimes we might mean something, the robot will understand it in a completely different manner. So this sort of gap should be bridged first, and this sort of, and various capabilities should also be integrated. As I have outlined here, computer vision. The vision should be integrated properly so that it will be able to recognize what is correct, what is not, what is the obstacle, etc., etc. So, in outline, in general, it's not just automating something. It's not just automating it for the sake of it. Is creating something intelligent and responsive to the human responses also. It's not just one-way traffic. It should adhere to human instructions at the same time. It should be having its own. It should be cognizant of the fact that he's assigned a certain task and it should perform a certain way. This sort of this sort of mix and match should happen properly, and this is one of the reasons why robotics is not as what you call as progress as we might want it to be. Now there is going to be inflection point in robotics also, as there was in NLP. So these are the various domains that I wanted to cover in terms of what is the effect of AI and what are the domains that the underlying domains of AI through which various domains, social domains will be affected, and which they will be incorporated. And for further purpose we can go in terms of applications of AI in various sectors. Like for example, tomorrow we'll be covering what are the applications of AI in education. How far is education is going to get disrupted? How far how what is going to happen now? Like now that there has been a plateau now. There are huge advent of large language models, and then that's it. There has been a plateau. So what is going to be the future now? What how is it going to look like in terms of what are the various models, which various capabilities. Now I just want to tell one more thing. Recently, Google has come up with something which will generate a music based on your text prompt. As in, if you say, "Give me something which is good to the mood of very jolly and happy mood. Give me a musical piece for a jolly and happy mood." The Google's AI model will generate a music piece for you. You know, such has been the progress. Same, the videos are also going to get disrupted. Recently, it's not as advanced, but if you give a prompt, give me a video of Tom and Jerry fighting each other on a green backyard. If you do something like text prompt like that, the model is able to come up with a video, and it's not like the video. It is just a rehash of what it has already trained on. It has been trained on thousands of Tom and Jerry episodes. It's not just picking one episode from it and doing it. It will be understanding the nuances and then come up with a video of two Tom and Jerry fighting each other. Such as that is an example of the advancement in terms of where we are, and this is only going to move further. For example, in the audio itself, like there is going to be a speech to text translation that we have, the text to text translation we have seen just now, and there is going to be speech to speech, speech to text, various text to speech. As you can see here,
Objectives.
this display button, this is a audio form of the article that is present here. This is the article that is present here. Salient features, eligibility objectives. This is the content of the page. Okay. This is the audio version of the page. That is, it will read out the contents of the page. Okay, in the objectives, eligibility, salient features, and the respective content for it. So what happened here is, it is a text to speech translation. For example, if a visually impaired person visits my site and he wants to understand the content of it, through vision it's not possible. So it is important for audio tools to equip the user visiting my site. So if he clicks on play button, if someone is present and if he clicks on play button, he is going to read it. I mean, he is going to read it without actually reading it. Where he can listen to the content of the page and understand what is present in the page. This sort of disruption is going to happen across various fields, and this is what I have covered in terms of what are the various domains and what are the various the future, what does future hold in terms of where we are at in this vast unknown entity called as AI landscape. There's new innovation happening every day. So these are the contents I want to cover. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions, you can just raise it. I'll be able to answer.
Any questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, let us thank our speaker, Mr. Anish Deshpande from C-DAC Hyderabad. Anishji, thank you so much for this. I hope I'm audible. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much for this very nice, interesting talk, and it was really nice of you to cover it with the examples as well. So thank you so much. Thank you on behalf of all the teachers present here, and a big round of applause for Mr. Deshpande, please.
Thank you everyone. It was a pleasure doing this session, and thank you all.
Thank you. So we'll close this session here now.